Hi, welcome to my February wrap up in my reading journal. I read way more books than I thought I could read in a single month. I don't think I've read this many books in a month in a very long time. So, needless to say, it was a very good reading month for me, which is very unusual for a February. But I read a lot of books, so let's get into it. The first one I read was The Haunting of Alejandra, which was Kitty at Spicy Cats Reads on YouTube. It was her book club pick for January and February. So that's the main reason I needed to get this read in February, because I did not read it in January. Going into this story, I didn't know if I'd like it or not. It sounded interesting, but I just wasn't sure. And I ended up liking it way more than I thought I would. It was just real beautiful and sad, and I just loved how we get little bits of each generation. So yeah, this was a win for me. I ended up giving it 4 stars. The second book I read in February was The Spanish Love Deception, and this was such a disappointment for me. I was so excited going into this book. There was a lot of hype around it when it first came out. What was it, like 2021? So I thought I'd like it, and it just wasn't for me. And I don't think this author is for me based on her writing style. And I get why people like it. It's just not my vibe. So yeah, this one was only a 2 stars. The next 2 books I read, I'm journaling together because I was reading them throughout the same days. One ebook, the other an audiobook. So I read Middle of the Night and Midnight Mayhem. I know people love to hate on Riley Sager books, but I've read every book he's come out with, and I really enjoy them. I've given every one of his books a 4 or 5 star. I'm not there to dig deep and critically analyze them. I'm just there for the vibes and the ride of the story. So yeah, no, I like Riley Sager books. And then Midnight Mayhem was the 3rd and last book in the Clover Pack series, so I got to mark off a series from my series tracker, which is always exciting. I liked it. It was the most boring of the 3 books, but I liked the series. I liked where it went, and I can say I finally finished another series because I need to mark those down as much as I can this year. That's my goal. So yeah, it was good. I gave it a 3 stars, so not bad. Book 5 of February was my favorite book of the month. It's Heartless by Elsie Silver, book 2, I think, in the Chestnut Springs series, and I absolutely love this book. I usually don't like age gap books, but this one worked for me. I was just obsessed with the two main characters, both of them, and it was just so well written. I'm excited to continue on in this series. 5 stars for sure. Book 6 I read in February is a middle grade book called Alone. It's been on my TBR for a while, so I'm happy I was finally able to get to it. It's about a girl who, I think she's 12, and in the middle of the night, her town is completely evacuated for some kind of an emergency, and she is left behind just completely alone. And she has to survive for a long time before she finally finds out where everyone went. And it was really good. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Book 7, I finally got to Quicksilver, and I have the unpopular opinion because I only gave it 3 stars. It didn't live up to the hype for me. It just kind of fell flat, and that was a disappointment. I was really hoping it was as good as I was seeing online, but that's okay. Can't be for everyone. I did like it. I don't know. A little disappointed with Kingfisher based off everything I was seeing online. I was so excited going in. But that's okay. I will continue in the series just to see where it goes. But it's not something I'm like super excited, pumped, can't wait for. So, yeah. The next book I read was A River of Golden Bones. This one was completely based off the cover. I saw it at Barnes & Noble, loved how beautiful it was, but didn't hear anything about it anywhere, so I wasn't sure about it. So I found the audiobook on Libby, listened to it, absolutely loved it, so I had to go buy a physical copy. The second book is already out, but there's a Barnes & Noble special edition coming out in October, so I pre-ordered that, and the third book comes out later this year, which also has a beautiful cover, so I'm going to have to pre-order that one also. This story just had a lot of elements I really enjoy reading. There was a twist on the classic Sleeping Beauty. One of the characters' name is Briar, like from Sleeping Beauty. There's a sleeping curse. There's twins. There's also shapeshifters. So there was just a lot in this that are things I enjoy reading about. This was a 4 stars. Then I read An Education in Malice and then Nectar of the Wicked. So a lot of fantasy just because I'm going through Romantasy-a-thon at this time of the month of February. An Education in Malice, I was really excited. That was one of the books I really wanted to get to last year and just never got to it. I ended up really liking it and gave it 4 stars. And then Nectar of the Wicked, that one I got in a Fairy Loot Romantasy box. And the cover is beautiful. The story I gave 3 stars. Their Insta-lust was just too annoying for me. And what I wrote in my journal is, the last 15% was more interesting than the first 85%. So, yeah, wasn't my favorite. I don't know if I'm going to continue in the series. Now, to take a break from putting in the books I read in February, I'm setting up my Romantasy-a-thon spread, or just putting in the book covers and the corresponding prompt, kind of like what was chosen for each prompt under each book cover. I set it up before I realized how I wanted it to look, so I'm just going in and making little tabs for each prompt and then putting the book cover on top so it opens so I can see what was chosen for each prompt. On to the last book I read for the Romantasy-a-thon prompts. It's Blood and Steel, and oh my gosh, I love this book. This one ended up being 5 stars, and I cannot wait to continue in this series. book 13 of February was Fangirl, which I've been, again, another one I've been wanting to read for a while, and I finally got to, and I absolutely love this one. Another 5 stars. I don't know why I waited so long on this. So yeah, very happy I finally got to it. It came out, 2013? So I now understand why so many people love this book and reread it so often, because I will probably reread this at some point in the next couple of years. And now finally to the last book of February. I read Ramon and Julieta, and this was such a cute take on Romeo and Juliet, and I love that they meet on a Day of the Dead celebration. It was just so cute. I loved their whole dynamic throughout it. So this one was just 4 stars, and I will continue because it's part of what's the series called? Love and Tacos, I think. So the next one is following a different couple in the same world. So I will be reading that one very soon. Now I'm going to go in and fill in my monthly stats on my cover page. So 14 books read, 28 days. Favorite book was Heartless. And then I'm going to put in all the new to me authors that I read, which is a lot this month, which is pretty exciting. I actually forgot some new authors that were on the back of the sticky note, so I have to go in, instead of whiting out each one and trying to write over the whiteout, I just cut out a piece of scrap paper and glued it in to my journal to add in the other new authors that I forgot to put in before going on to repeat authors. If I counted correctly, I think I read 8 or 9, I think it's 9 different series this month. For my star rating, it's obviously not going to fit because I'm at the bottom of the page, so I'm just using another scrap piece of paper I have, going in and flipping through and marking down the star rating for each book to make sure I have enough space before I cut it out and fit it into the bottom corner of my page. On to one of my favorite spreads in my reading journal is my yearly tracker. So I just track books read, pages read, days read, Goodreads progress, how many physical audio and ebooks I read for the month, books bought in the month, and then my total physical TBR still on my shelves to be read. And now I need to update my year published sticky notes that I won't really use in a spread until the end of the year. Finally, on to the last spread I need to update for February is my year in pixels, where I just track the total days for audio, physical, and ebooks, and then I put a little sticker for the days I completed a book.